and welcome to another episode of Living Room Wisdom, where your story is your glory. I am Patrina Wisdom, author, speaker, and movement leader, and I'm super excited to share with you today my good friend Kimberly Spears. She's actually in the financial industry. She is very passionate about educating families and helping them to build better financial futures, but she's got quite the story. She's in her 30s and has lived the life of many, so I'm excited to dive in. So welcome.
Thank you so much for that.
Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. Now to the good stuff.
All right, let's get
Now,
to it.
I want you to share in your own words a little bit about who you are and your contribution in the world.
So who am I? I would first say that I'm a friend.
Mm-hmm.
You know, very non-judgmental. I love people. I have patience, so I love to just talk with people. And I get it from my mother. She's such a calm spirit, and it's kind of interesting. I'm a Leo. My father's a Leo. My mother's a Capricorn. So very opposite end of the spectrum. Capricorns are known to be very calm, and me and my dad are very big personalities, very big, very loud at times. But my mom, she always just had this peace about her, this patience that nothing ever bothered her. Mm-hmm. So I knew as I grew into myself as a woman, I wanted to always have that same type of patience with people, to where you just never really seem too bothered by too much. So That's definitely who I say I am. Definitely a friend first.
A friend.
Yeah.
Okay, a friend to yourself first before you can be a good friend to others, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Definitely a friend to myself. But that even was something I had to grow into. Mm-hmm. Because, again, coming from a family of nurturers and taking care of people, I always, was there for my family and for my friends and anyone who needed me. But that sometimes meant putting what I wanted on the back burner, and being very tough on myself to rise to the occasion in all these different scenarios and situations for all these different people.
Yeah.
But then again, you come to that place where you're like, no, I'm going to be patient with myself, and I'm going to be a friend to myself, and then you become even better for the people that you're around.
Tell me a little bit about that. Did you have a big family? Because
Yes.
it sounds like you might come from a big family.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what it is my mom's sister married my dad's brother. So my cousins are all very, very close. My siblings were all very, very close. So we grew up almost like one immediate family. Mm-hmm. So just looking out for each other was always very important. In my immediate family with my siblings, I actually have 3 brothers, 2 that are younger, 1 that's older, and I have 2 older sisters. Mm-hmm. And between my sisters, I'm 32. I have a 42-year-old sister and a 52-year-old sister.
Oh my gosh.
So it was really awesome as, we have different mothers, but as we got to know each other and just see this, you're a reflection of your parents, and then your siblings are a reflection of yourself as well, because you have the same DNA. So as I met my older sisters and learned their stories and what it was like growing in different households and at times the same household, it just, again, made me understand why you have to have patience with people, because you never know what someone else's experience is like, and you don't want to rush them through their own process. Mm-hmm. So, I ask people to be patient with me. So it's just always been, important to, give people space to be themselves, to express themselves at their own pace. And I really think I got that from my siblings.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you found some gifts in being raised in such a big family with different backgrounds that are often living in different homes. How did you kind of make your mark or establish your identity amongst many?
Great question. Well, and so for a long time growing up, I was the only girl amongst my male cousins and my brothers. Mm-hmm. So there was no room to be soft and timid and shy amongst the big group.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. I grew up in a jock family.
Yeah.
Everyone picked on you. Everyone had their goals and their dreams. But if you weren't confident about it, then, they were going to call you out on it. Mm-hmm. So you just had to be yourself and be comfortable, and then, go cry later behind the scenes.
So that actually sounds like it was a gift for you, though. You said you were the only girl? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so men oftentimes have a confidence and a stance, if you will, right? Like what's the word I'm looking for? Like just very clean-cut boundaries,
yes.
Right? Yes. And they're not stagnant in their voice like women often are. And so for you to grow up in that environment, it seems that you gleaned a lot of that from your brothers and brought that into, your blossoming womanhood, if you will.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Something as strong as in your stance when you're talking to
Right.
people, So if I was talking to my brothers or talking to my cousins, I wasn't cowering or getting
Yes.
small. I was very big, like, hey, mom said come here, she needs something, So it's the same way when you get to the real world. You have to really take ownership of how you command the room and how you present yourself, and not be afraid, and not have to be perfect, but just be strong in yourself, and just know, if I'm in the room, I'm here because I'm supposed to be. Someone has me here on assignment. My God has me on assignment. So once you get there, just show up and be there. That's more than half of the battle.
It really is. I love that. And it's one of the things I noticed about you when we first met, is that you definitely have a presence. And I know that sometimes, especially as women, we when we have a strong personality, when we're not stagnant in our voice, when we, are confident, that there are labels sometimes placed on us, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about any challenges or struggle you've had in regard to this strength and this light, like this charisma that you naturally bring, which maybe would be perceived by others as something, or trying to reflect that onto you as if it's something negative, because it's actually a really positive trait to have.
Absolutely. And it's funny how I love how you phrased it, because I'm big on mentorship.
Yes.
I love to follow. I love to get behind people who have been where I'm trying to get to. So when you're doing that, sometimes you're in I don't want to say a subservient role, but you're learning. So you're just sitting back and you're observing. When you finally decide to assert yourself and switch roles, some people may receive it like, whoa, I haven't seen this side of you.
Yes.
So, I've definitely played the role of a gentle giant before.
Yeah.
The patient side of me says, I'm going to listen, I'm going to take my time, I want to hear you out. But, people can be afraid or can be like, well, where'd that come from? When you're like, hey, I'm actually really clear about where I'm going, despite being patient with what you're trying to figure out,
Yes.
And and I say that in a humble way, but it's, again, you can't be afraid to be yourself, because, someone else isn't comfortable where they're at. And ideally, you bring them up and say, hey, don't be afraid to be yourself. You can be yourself around me. You can be yourself when you're by yourself. You can be yourself wherever you need to. You have that space, but don't come for my authority or my power because of where yours is at. So.
And for you to come to that at such an early age is phenomenal. It usually takes women in particular, maybe into their 40s, some women even into their 50s, to really own that personal power and to fully show up. So tell me then, I feel like you have this really nice balance of the masculine and the feminine energy, right? You do that dance really well, right? I see you with your husband, your new husband, by the way, right? Newly married. And I love that you hold this strength and you have this presence, and you also have this softness about you that really shows up when he's around. You turn into like a giddy little girl, and it's super cute. So tell me about that, like relationships, what that experience has been like.
You know what? It comes a lot from perception. I think, I absolutely got married in November, completely happy about,
Yes.
completely happy to have met a man that makes me glow.
Yes.
And I think, again, it comes to getting to know someone that's going to allow me to rise to as high as I would like to go, not be intimidated by it. But there was a time before he got here that I had to go through some other types, and relationships weren't as supportive of that strong, assertive, very clear on where you're going. And, I say to young women, don't tie yourself down too early while you're still learning yourself, because you'll shortchange yourself, we're people of habits. And if you allow someone to influence your habits before you've developed your own, you can stifle yourself.
Oof, Lord.
You can stifle yourself.
Like, how much time do we have? We got stories about that one.
Exactly. And that's in all relationships, but especially in romantic relationships.
Yes.
So in this season, for me, it's just been beautiful to have a man that's like, hey, if you want to go be a rock star, hey, I'm right here, your biggest cheerleader.
She got her rock star boots.
My rock star boots. He's like, I'm here cheering for you.
Yes.
And vice versa. And it's like you learn, even as a powerful woman who stands on her own, that, hey, because when my husband comes around and you see me a little bit more quiet, a little bit more demure, that's just a respectful thing within myself. Not that he's saying you got to go be quiet, you got to do anything, but I value what he says. I value what he brings to the table, and I can be strong when it's me, but when it's both of us, be careful who you pick, because we're both dangerous, you know?
Right.
So it is. It's just awesome, and you know, we have a family. There's 5 of us, so.
Yeah, big family, and then created a big family.
And then it's interesting because, you know, we talk a lot about friendships and communities and creating your family.
Yeah.
You know, I married a man that had children. So I now have children, and we have a family of 5, and it's been an adventure because,
sure,
my goodness, the lessons that you learn, and you're like, yeah, I'm starting to get the swing of this, and then you have, you know, 6 eyes looking at you, and you're like, oh shoot, okay, now I gotta walk on it. I just learned it. I didn't mean I could actually do it all right now, but it's just beautiful because, again, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up and show up every single time and say, hey, this is who I am. Take me or leave me, but I hope you take me because I want you to come in. I want you to feel love, and I want you to feel confident and comfortable to be yourself, because that's all this life is about, you know, getting to that space where you can just be yourself, be confident, not worry about what anyone else has to say, and, you know, be loved by the people around you.
Absolutely. And that's a really good point, because you have to be incredibly lovable and loving to step into a family that has already been created and already has their dynamics and their way of doing things, and then insert yourself into that environment and keep everything moving, you know, in the direction that we want it to go. So I know that had to have come with some challenges at some point as well. Tell me how you navigate those challenges and what it is within you, because I know you have a really strong mindset. Your mindset is everything.
It's so funny because I immediately think too. So our 11-year-old son Zaire, we were doing something, cleaning around the house or doing something, and you know, we had lived together for 4 years before we got married. So you know, we already had established our family dynamic. But it really warmed my heart one day. We were doing something around the house, and I was trying to do it my way, and they were used to doing it their way. And Zaire said, "Well, you married into the family," and I was like, "You're right. I'm gonna go ahead and do it your way."
He closed you.
He closed me completely. You know, it felt so good. It was like, all right, you're right. I'm gonna go ahead and do it your way. So like the mindset is just that nothing is forever. Nothing. Your mindset is not fixed one way forever. I mean, you have your principles, you have your beliefs, but like when you're dealing with people who are already established in who they are or growing in a certain direction, you can't just come in and impose yourself and say, no, we're going to do it completely left to the, you know, in a different direction. You have to be like, all right, let me see how you do it. Okay, I've observed a little bit. All right, let me pose some questions, find out why we're doing it this way. And then say, hey, well, have you thought about it this way? Have you tried this way? Watch it when I do it. What do you think about that? And it just makes it more, you know, more open. There is
more collaborative.
Exactly, more collaborative, and I think the children appreciate that. I know my husband appreciates that. So my mindset coming to a blended family was just, don't lose yourself. First and foremost, don't lose yourself amongst, you know, 4 other people, but be completely open to what you're supposed to learn and get from them. And I'm sure there's a lot of lessons. Oh yeah. Just recently, we had, you know, a little bit of trauma. We were involved in a car accident that was pretty serious. We were coming from a wonderful baby shower. And, you know, we were having some car trouble, and we pulled off on the freeway and got serviced by AAA. And while my husband's on the outside with AAA, a drunk driver smashes into the back of us, pushes us into the AAA truck. I'm knocked unconscious. My son is in the back seat, broken femur. He ended up with a broken femur. Zanaya, she ended up with a hematoma across her forehead. So just very traumatic, just something that you know you would never expect would happen. But now we've all got to heal from it. And we've got to heal from it as a family. And we've got to heal from it as a blended family. There's so many different things that are going through everyone's minds right now that it's like, hey, everybody needs space to decompress. Everybody needs room to come together, you know, and we have to get through it as a family. So it's just those scenarios when you're there for the people around you that make you say, okay, I can count on you.
Yeah.
You know, I know you're going to be there.
And I'll tell you, it's interesting because even though we've been in each other's space for a long time, we haven't had the opportunity to drop in like we have had over the past like few months.
Yeah.
And every time I spend time with you, I like fall more in love with you, just your soul, right? Your soul. And after that experience, because I saw the pictures and I mean, whew, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But having that experience and still being able to come together as a family and heal through that is pretty phenomenal, because all sorts of things could have went down. You know what I mean?
You just really realize how grateful you are.
Yes.
Like, we had that experience 30 days ago.
Yes.
But I think about all the families that had that experience 30 days before I did, you know, who've had things other than car accidents that have been traumatic or, you know, life-changing or just slowed everything down. And it's just like you become grateful for, one, being here to be able to say, like, I'm sitting here with you. But then two, to say like, okay, my time is even more precious now than I realized. So let me make sure I get out and try to meet as many more people to let them know, hey, your life is precious. It means something. You're here on this earth for a reason.
I hope you're listening to your own voice, because that's been the theme of your life so far this year. You've had multiple challenges that you guys have overcome together as a family. And what I've noticed is that every single time it's like your mindset gets even stronger. Your passion for your personal life mission and your business mission gets stronger. Your love gets deeper. And it's one of the things that I admire about you.
Thank you.
So,
you know, it really has a lot to do with, I mean, like you said, even being this much more in proximity with you. It's not the material things that I'm after. It's you know, my mindset gets stronger. I'm going to work harder for those material things, but it's really to get in the room again. Yeah, it's to stay in the room with the people who have found that peace and that happiness within themselves, and just continue to soak up that aura. So it's just been awesome where God has placed me. This entire
so
year,
many blessings.
This entire year, you know, from marriage to today, just always kick it off with the marriage, because my husband is such a huge part in why, like, my capacity has jumped to a level that I didn't know I had, or I knew I had, but I just didn't know what direction it was going to go. So I just know God has purpose for us. So.
And so much more to come.
So much more to come.
So much more to come. So let's future cast. Okay, 5 years down the road, I want to know, what does your life look like? What have you created for yourself? How do you see yourself? Who are you going to be in 5 years?
In 5 years, one, I want to birth my own children, more children. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I like to say I want a simple life. I'm still building, still working very hard in my business, still working to serve as many people as possible. But I really just want to be encouraging other young women, young men, Black women, Black men, all women, all men, to just go knock on the door for that room that you want to be in, wherever it is. I just want to be inspiring people to say, hey, I wasn't always this person, and now I'm here. And then get to there and say, hey, now I switched and I'm more passionate about this over here, and I'm not going to go find out, you know, just in 5 years, I want to be a learner still. I'm just a lifelong learner.
You're a seeker.
Yes,
for sure.
Completely.
And a researcher.
Completely. You know, it's one of those things that bugs me nowadays is there's so much information. I mean, almost anything you can think of is out there in some way, shape, or capacity. So I'm big on language. We have to just be very careful. And I'm going to say this
so
really
true.
in the, I'll even speak on the Black community for a minute. I'm so invested in our language that I want us to know we have so many resources. We don't ever have to say, oh man, how come you don't see? You can go see it.
Right.
You just got to go seek it.
Yes.
It's there. There's nothing that can hold anyone back. There are so many resources, and we just have to realize that and keep it in the forefront. Like, I'm a resourceful person. There are resources available for me. I just have to go find them.
Wow. Yeah, I love it. Resourcefulness is the thing.
Oh, man, you yourself, you're like extremely resourceful.
Oh,
You're all about like just making things easier on yourself.
Yeah. I don't make excuses. I make shit happen.
That part right there.
But that's awesome. I'm super excited that we were able to have this conversation. But before we wrap up here, I really want to, I know that you've had many challenging situations, none of which we have time to go into today, but maybe in a future episode. But what I want to know is what's the gift that you found in these struggles and you overcoming those struggles?
Ooh. So the gift that I have found is time value. The biggest thing, I'm a busybody, 100%. Love to be in motion, kind of a control freak.
Kind of.
You know, amongst other things, but very much so just like always on the move. So, you know, when we got in this car accident and some of the other injuries and things that have happened throughout the year, it made me slow down.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can I be winning and everything is thriving and everyone's inviting me to all these things, and at the same time, God is telling me to slow down? How does that work?
Yes.
Well, he's just saying, you know, just value your time and know that it's precious. So wherever you place it, say yes to everything you want to say yes to.
Yes.
So that's been a gift to me. I've said yes to so many more things that make me happy and just make me feel fulfilled. So that's definitely been the biggest gift.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I know, I'm like
you.
mom over here. I'm so proud of you, baby. But I really appreciate you coming on and sharing, and this conversation was enlightening and inspiring, I'm sure, to so many women out there, young and older, right? More seasoned, as I prefer to call it. So with that said, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. Tune back in. We upload videos every week with inspiring, beautiful women just like Miss Kimberly here. And so again, find the gift in your tragedies, in your challenges, in your traumas. They're always there. You just might have to go mining. I am Patrina Wisdom, and I'll see you next time.